Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Namaskar. This is Engineer Suraj Singh speaking from Bharat, India on the day September 17, 2021, Friday. Stress again on quality and safety, health, and environment, along with little talk of COVID-19 on activities. And title is that's having many topics. That is civil field engineering we speak, but it is field engineering, not exclusively civil. Field engineering, life, quality AnnexSL, we'll discuss about that. COVID-19, safety, health, environment, and engineer's role, direct role to COVID, to quality, to safety, health, environment, designs, construction. Designs and constructions are related together. And of course, construction can be done when methods are clear. That's why I'm saying methods. Contracts are governing factors. Then organizations, of course, all organizations I'm talking. And then combined out of communication and coordination. That's a combination. And all based on these topics, everything based on the topics, we can say quality can be understood and applied. So we are behind quality of standard material, standard works, and standard whatever we can say. It's very important factor because we should feel responsible. Reason being that we are all having certain you can say high profile certificates which require that we should work as professionals. We should work not as professionals but competent professionals, and that can be realized only when we deliver through our works of products delivery or through works of services delivery. Whatever we do, whatever we conduct, all should be per, as I said that it should be quality in construction, quality in designs, quality in production, quality in services, and of course quality in thoughts, quality on propositions, quality in role, and quality everywhere. That is demand of time, that is demand of engineering, that is demand of life, because life means engineering and engineering means life. If you think this way, we can win over all deficiencies that do exist because of ourselves only, not because of someone else. It is our responsibility for working and for inspections, for audits, for every issue that is related to ourselves, that is related to working. We cannot pass blames to others. If we pass blames to others, that clearly indicates that we want to shed our responsibility onto someone else. And that should not be habit of professionals who are engineers, who are medicals, who are others too. It does not work if you say, no, I'm not responsible, you are responsible. I'm not going to accept that fact. Because quality says, first of all, one should have quality in itself. Quality cannot be achieved if individuals are not quality oriented. Engineers are not quality oriented, professionals are not quality oriented, and all those members of team in engineering as well as otherwise, if those members, all level members, line workers, if they are not oriented by quality system, they understand quality, they should understand quality, and if they do not understand, to requirements, then it should be our duty to train them. And if we can train them, we can say we do our minimum duty because we deploy them for work. Engineers deploy them for work, and engineers are deployed by someone else also. So when it comes to question of training, it is responsibility of engineers to train them. That's very important point we should take care of, and we cannot simply say no. We are all trained, we know, but training at time of education and training at time of work, there is some distance, there exists some gap, and that gap, you can say, brings quality variations, safety variations. What is today important in any activity, in whatever activity we do, it's not necessary that that shall remain very important all times or that shall be very significant. A time may come that this becomes obsolete and something new comes in its place. This happens because of changes, continuous changes in materials properties, continuous changes in quality system, continuous changes in technology, and continuous improvements in safety all over the world. We cannot simply say this our country is like this, so we should trust that or we should depend exclusively on that system. Systems are never dictated by nations. Systems are dictated by practice, systems are dictated by professionalism, and professionalism cannot be defined just by term of profession or term of engineer. Profession itself says you have to move to advancement. You have to learn a lot in details, you have to learn a lot in depth. It's not simply superficial that we are professionals. So profession is never superficial. You can say other sales activities, ordinary activities, manual working activities, those may be sometimes called occupations. There is a difference, occupation and profession. Profession needs every time, profession demands every time, profession dictates every time that changes are must. Thinking is must. Improvement is must. And that's what we say, quality never remains constant. It keeps on changing. It remains constant for certain time period. But one time comes when it changes, and that change is never abrupt. Never abrupt, it takes some transition time. And within that transition time, we can shift on. And that's the reason that quality system ISO 9001 was one time in 2008, then changed to 2015. And we can see, if since the beginning, if you see that there have been constant changes, but it depends on requirements, it depends on records, what happened, where people did fail and where they were successful, where improvement can be applied, could be applied, and improvements have been applied, responsibilities have been fixed. To some extent, I cannot say that it is certainly permanent. We have to consider, we have to propose something, and then we can say, okay, we got this and we have to move upwards. Or we have to change something because of defects or some deficiencies we have experienced. And when we experience some deficiencies, we have to correct them or we have to up top of them for better ideas, for better proposals. And that's where quality changes. Quality is never constant. Safety also depends on activities. Everyday activities are advanced, mechanized. Manual activities are tried to be reduced, particularly in site works. In factories, we know control works go on. In industries, control works go on. So there are rare chances of quality failure or safety failure. But despite everything goes on perfectly in mechanized world, quality is not achieved to a mark which was intended to get. I don't know reason behind that. I only can understand that it is carelessness, Even we say that they have used mechanic world, they have used machines, they have used computers. But we should not forget that computers are artificial intelligence based systems. These are not mind based systems, these are not soul based systems. I am using term soul because soul is also ours. Maybe scientifically we have not proved that, but soul is a part of ourselves. We cannot neglect it. And if we neglect it, thinking that it's not justified, it's not evidenced, then we forget that we are human being, our own procedure, our own life cycle, our own existence, our own survival. All these combinations indicate, all these combinations prove that soul exists. If soul doesn't exist, I cannot stay as I am, I cannot live, I cannot talk to you, I cannot do anything. I just become a body equivalent to dead body. So soul functions, we know. You feel happy, you don't feel happy. How do you feel? How do you experience? All these are related to soul, but that cannot be physically explained. That cannot be physically justified because that is what secret is. We use electrical current, electricity. We know what is electricity, but we cannot see it. We cannot view it. We cannot picturize it. But its appliances can be picturized. Its appliances can work. You can see all appliances based on electrical energy that we operate. These do exist evidently. Without electrical world, without electrical science, without electrical engineering, we cannot even think of living today. Electrical failure means everything's failed. Electrical energy has been very important, though it's not seen, it's seen only through appliances. Same way I can say soul current doesn't work without appliance, and that appliance is what? That appliance is our body, human body, every other body, animal's body, birds, and all creatures in this universe. So we are also one of those creatures. I am one of those creatures, and my body, which is biological, is not independent alone. It cannot work independently. It needs some respiration system. You may say it's a part of body. You can say whatever you say. But a respiration system is operated by someone, and we do not know. We feel that someone exists, but we do not know who that someone is. It is same electrical current, electrical voltage, and energy that soul is. But we can use it in our lives. Every second we use it, every fraction of second we use, but we cannot discontinue that. We cannot discontinue use of that, and if we discontinue our life, every part of life. That's what I say, civil field engineering is nothing but life engineering. If we do not understand civil field engineering, we should understand is life engineering or natural engineering. There is only one and one engineering in the whole world, that is civil engineering, which is natural engineering, which is based on natural thinking, which is based on natural materials. Nothing can be done, no work can be done in engineering, our civil engineering, if not natural materials do not exist. And if natural materials do not exist, we cannot refine natural materials to useful materials. So our world is engineering civil relates to soil, it relates to water, it relates to air, it relates to sun, it relates to stones, it relates to sand, it relates to every part of nature, and on top of that it relates to human being. How do you work? So primary, you can say primarily civil engineering is life engineering. We say civil, but it is civilized. You can say civilized world engineering that develops. I explain and compare civil engineering to natural engineering, that is nature's engineering. That engineering cannot be defined, but that engineering has been responsible for construction of the solar system and construction of universe. And where that engineering was achieved, it was achieved in universe, in skies, God did that. So we can say God is an engineer, but God is everyone. Let us hope God is very good engineer, because God did something which even we cannot conceive. No scientist, no engineer of world can conceive universe building, how to build universe, because it's not going to work. We are bound by earth, lithosphere, magnetically, electrically, and in every approach, that we cannot come up, we cannot fly, we cannot do anything else except thinking. Because we are earth oriented, we are lithosphere oriented, we are bound by that. And we have to develop only earth and not moon or Mars or sun. We cannot go there, so no question arises that we have to think of that. That's all speculative, and that's just, I think, no use. We may, for academical purpose, okay, they just send machines there, orbits there, they send satellites, whatever they can say, but practically speaking, there is no way that we can contemplate how to build solar system or how to build universe. But we remember, we understand God did that, and that could not be done, that could never be done without use of sciences, mathematical science, you can say material science, and all sciences, all engineering subjects that might have been involved for construction of these planets, which are very much in equilibrium, which have been in equilibrium since their conception and building. And nature says, yeah, this is what is equilibrium, this is how system works, this system never stops. And millions and I don't know how many crores years have gone, system has been working. It did not fail, it cannot fail. And we talk of only for 50 years or 100 years of construction materials that they can survive. We can say building can survive for couple of decades or couple of centuries or maximum 100 years, or this can survive for so many years. Machine can survive for couple of years or couple of decades, you can say. There is a limited life we give to our materials, our work in engineering. It's not unlimited, but God did something which is unlimited. So we can measure ourselves to very, very small scale if you compare to God's scale. And it's not God of any religion, certainly speaking. It's God of power. It's God of universe. It's engineer God. It's engineer God. It's doctor God. It's professor God. It's researcher God. And God has all parameters. God has all designations. So you can say we should learn from that. We can become self-teacher. We have to study nature in each and every detail. Can you think of how can you make one sphere in civil engineering designs? Can we think of that? We say we have constructed that tower which is world legend in that country. For example, we say in Dubai we constructed one tower, or we say in some other country we constructed that tower. Why do we become so prideful for that? Every resource is available here and we use it. But you are connected to some surface, you are connected to some soil structure. Why don't we think, can we produce one earth? You may say this person is got lunatic. You may say that. I don't mind. Because if you require to do something specific, to think something specific, we have to think like that. You may call anything, but quality, safety are issues, and quality is directly related to specifications of miracle. We know that we cannot do miracles, but miracles means mind, use of mind. We have to use mind, and mind thinks. Job of mind is to think. Job of mind is to think in both ways. in one way of using some material for construction and in another way of using material for destruction. It's in your mind capacity. It's in everybody's mind capacity. If you want to construct something, you feel that it's a long process and you have to do a lot of work. And if it's a destruction process, I think you have to spend time on destruction also, and then you have to destruct everything. There is a difference in construction and destruction. Construction creates and destruction destroys. Both are opposite to each other, but both are important. Construction is important for civil engineers. Construction is important for every engineer, because without construction, no industry can work, no factory can work, no work can be done. And without you can say destructive measures, without doing negative approach, you cannot construct, you cannot produce destructive powers like nuclear powers. Nuclear power can be used for electrical production, it can be used for some other purpose, but generally people believe and scientists believe that it should be used for something else. It should be used for destruction. And we do not say that we have right for destruction, but science says that destruction can be done. Construction is very important, it's time consuming, it's hard work, difficult work, because it is long lasting. Construction doesn't mean just 1 hour job, for 1 hour work, for 1 hour. It takes decades for use of constructed deliveries. But when you use hydrogen bomb, nuclear bomb, it takes just minutes to destroy some city. And work of nuclear reactor is also very difficult, it's not easy, it's very much technical based, just like other structures. So technology is used everywhere, either for this purpose or for that purpose. That is where human fails. We have no right to destruct anything, because God took a lot of time, lot of energies to produce these materials, which are we call natural resources, natural sources hidden within crust of earth. We only know about crust a little, we don't know everything about crust also. And crust is just very small, a small layer, a small, you can say, top layer of lithosphere. Lithosphere means solid part of earth. Lithosphere is not earth. Lithosphere plus aerospace. Aerosphere is called equivalent, both, sum of both is called earth. So I say earth, first layer, solid layer of earth is called crust, which is just about 35 kilometers maximum from surface of earth. And we know very little, only up to 10 kilometers say, we do not know more than that. Depth of sea on average is 4 kilometers and depth of ocean on an average is 10 kilometers. And we do not know even everything about water body. How can you say we can know everything about this solid body that's called that lithosphere? We cannot say we know both, but both are important. Water body is important. Why did God put water in that reservoir, which we can call ocean and sea? There should be some reason. And reason is that it is required for survival. Without water we cannot do anything. Water is a system, water body is a system for us. Water body is a system for us, and that talks to, that deals with, that coordinates with, that communicates with solar power, that communicates with air power, that communicates with these agencies, so that this water body works for us and it delivers to us clouds and rain. And if no rain occurs, no rain happens, we cannot grow crops. So you can say it's a part of self-operating industry, self-operating natural industry, processing plant that sea gives us through air and sun and soil. There is reason, this is reason that we should get food. What we do, we just grow crops, we cultivate something and we get wheat grains and life, and we get rice grains, we get vegetables, we get everything, depends on season. And we can see water comes to us free of cost, and we say it's heavy rain, it's too much rain, or it's famine. If no rain means famine. We can't get, we say, oh, we don't have water, and it's not possible to get water from sea to every place, every location in world. Just imagine, if there is no water, there is no rain. There is water in lithosphere, but say there is no rain. How shall you do? How will you get food? That's horrible question. There are rivers everywhere. You may say we can use rivers. But rivers work only when sea works, when ocean works. If ocean doesn't give rain to you, how can you say you'll get river water? So river will also dry. Rivers would dry, and your water level underground or under earth surface, that we call water bodies, reservoirs we call it. We can say underground waters. Water table we call level at which we get water. So that shall also fall, its drop, if there is no rain for a couple of years. And you say we have no water, we can't do anything. You can't use hand pumps, you cannot use tube wells. So what to do? So that's why I say it's a system. Our industry is very small. Our industry we build is very small, but this industry of universe, that it gives seasonal rains which we cannot produce. They boast about that we are doing seeding and we can create rain. Some countries do that. Okay, there's a technology development. When there's a condition, there is a state in clouds that it can create rain if some chemical is added, which we call rain breeding or breeding of clouds. Clouds breeding, and we can create rain using that chemical composition available in air. So this means we do something which already there. We add to that, we can say gas is available or fuel is available, and we just spark it. So it will fire. Otherwise, we don't have any capacity to do something. So what I say, sometimes we add mind, and that mind helps because mind is also natural. Mind is not artificial. Nobody has artificial mind. Yes, mind can be used for artificial activities. Just like for computer we say computer intelligence. You can say intelligent world. Yes, it is intelligent world, but not solved world. It is limited intelligent. Whatever you feed into computer, that shall work and give answer. But in my computer and your computer, that's natural one, which you could not understand since beginning. It's a computer itself, the system itself, it's system disk in our forehead. It says that you are a wealthy person. You have capacity to think. You can think for quality, you can think for safety, you can think for production, you can think for industrialization, you can think for construction, you can think for everything that others cannot think. And that is called fertile mind. And purpose of education is create fertility in your mind or train it for fertility. Because hard disk is there, software is there, you have to feed information. Soul is software, your body is hardware, and your whole body is actually hardware, because whole body supplies energy to mind, and in turn mind also helps body to remain fit. So you can say mind and biological system of body both are complementary to each other. Without one, other cannot exist, cannot work. So it's very important point we are discussing here, not from engineering point of view, but from existence point of view, from sustainability point of view, from real point of view, how we have to live. So we define quality, you can say it's just a part, it's just very small part. Because we require definition, because we don't give quality. If we used to give quality every time, first time, every time, I think this discussion would have been not given any value. I would not talk to you about quality. Because it's our own creation that we do it or we don't do it. Nobody is responsible for that. And because professionals like engineers and others, they are responsible for that. You are responsible because you use natural material, use resources, and you agree to give service to someone, service in either form of product delivery or in services delivery, whatever it could be. We get payment for that. Payment is another part, but we get it. This is exchange of service charges or payment of material cost and material, and that material must be quality based. We know quality a lot, We know material quality, material properties, product quality, product properties, and what we do, that quality, that requirement, everything we know in writing. But it should physically do. Every product should physically do. But does it? Every product should be safe, should provide health to everyone, and should help environment to be human supportive, human friendly. Life cannot be isolated from profession. Life cannot be isolated from materials, from products. Life cannot be isolated from engineering and from medical science. Life cannot be isolated from soul, that's top one. Top of all. Top of all is soul. In engineering, we do not study this, but we do not study many other factors also. We do not study many other subjects also in engineering, but in life we have to do. We study only those which we are taught or for which syllabus has been set, because there is a time limit for educational system. We cannot go on study forever, but when you are educated, when one is educated and becomes engineer or doctor or professor, that level is called self-teaching level, self-studying level, self-understanding level, self-change level, self-improvement level. That level is open-ended. There is no closed door. We used to think that engineering course you pass, whatever engineering course, whatever level of degree you get, then you can lock it. That was misconception. It was locked because we had to do job, and we think job we get, it's over and we had to settle in life. Means we stressed on lifestyle. We stressed on how to survive further. Thinking is very expensive for everyone. Expensive not in terms of finance, expensive in terms of spending. Thinking is very difficult also. For normal life you can think, you can say I'm in tension. You are in tension because you don't have solution, and thinking is applied only when there is some problem. There is some problem of whatever kind thinking is applied with, and thinking is a kind of, you can say, wealth. Wealth we have. Thinking is a kind of wealth in our world, though people do not accept this. They want to mitigate, they want to dissipate thinking by using bad means, bad acts, you can say dirty acts. Some people says that I am in stress, and why is someone in stress? We have to analyze that fact, and that fact can be analyzed only by understanding or by considering that this person is unable to answer this question, or that person has some problem, that problem this person is unable to solve, and because that person is unable to solve, that person enters in a state where that person feels some kind of unease or pain, and that person cannot solve it, and he starts doing something which I should not include here. You know very well what I mean. Stress, if you get, I don't say that you are an engineer. You can't be. Stress is in engineering, it's not in doing job. Materials are stressed and materials are strained. We know what is stress and strain, every engineer knows, and common people may not know. But we can say, they say, oh, this is force, I am under pressure. So pressure is also stress. Somebody say, oh, I am in pressure, I am in stress. Pressure and stress are related. Stress is unit, measurement unit. You can say when you press, you force some material, directly you force on that, and that material has some area, and when you divide that force by that area, you will get per unit area that force, and we in engineering call it stress. So stress is something that our material can resist up to that level, and that stress is in units, kilogram per square millimeter per square centimeter, or newtons per millimeter square, or whatever unit you use. It means your material is stressed, your mind is stressed. The mind has got no area, we cannot say we have area, but this is meaning of that. And in fact, it is not stress alone. When you are subject to stress for a long time and your stress exceeds some defined limit or agreeable limit that you can accept, it changes, it is a stress form into, because of this stress, you can get changes in unit, changes in size of that product, or size of whatever you can say standard size of that you tried to compress with, to force, and you get say stress, and that stress can change, that can transform sizes of that product which you are testing in its either change in length or change in width or change in volume, and we call this a strain. A strain is change which cannot be, you can say, reinstated. That change cannot be brought back. If it recovers, if we can recover it, that recovered portion cannot be called change. Only remaining portion can be called change. And if there is full recovery, we cannot call it strained. We may call it working hard or whatever unit we use in engineering. I'm just trying to explain to common people what it is. So do not worry about stress or strain. It is on your hands. Nobody will help you in solving it. If you solve problem, you get a degree of pleasure, a degree of happiness, which you did not expect, but you solve this. And that's where your thinking application, your concentration application, both were applied, and you try to mitigate stress power and strain power. You got an answer, and even after stress, if you get that answer, even after strain, if you get that answer, you are a proficient person, because you could change it, you could understand this, and once you understand that, it is your wealth, it's your knowledge, because that experience stays with you and it shall be helpful to you at all points of time in future. So this is what I say. We should not worry about tension. So people generally call it tension also. Tension and compression are complementary to each other. If you are in tension, this means there is some compressive force on you which can give you tension. But that tension is very common world. Without tension, life becomes dull, because your mind has to work. And mind works only when there is a problem. If there is no problem, you think everything is settled, there is no problem, we are just passing time and living, then minds become helpless, mind becomes very ignorant. Why do you say that? Don't say that. I am with you, use me. Mind always says, use me. It doesn't cost you anything except some food, and that you have to take otherwise also, even if you do not use mind. Mind functions with very little food, and mind functions like a constructor, like a destroyer, and like everything in life. Even you use your physical pleasure of your body with other body, your mind feels happiness and not your organs. That's where mind control exists, and that's why we say mind is controller of body. So when this is controller of body, this means it is dictative, it is directive, it is responsible for everything. We have to get into that point. COVID quality is very important. Nowadays, COVID has become very dominant everywhere, and it rules the world. In fact, if you say truly, COVID-19 has been a leader of world, and world leaders have failed. World leaders say we have to fight it, we have to destroy it, without knowing what it is. And this is quality of world leaders, because they are non-scientific, they are non-engineering. They think only just to survive in their offices by whatever means. But COVID-19 is least bother about that situation because it knows till now they could not understand me and they shall not understand either. Because their orientation of every country leader is not to help people soul wise, not to help people development wise, or you can say safety wise, but to think of quality less development, quality less development, economical development, development of nuclear reactors, development of power plants, development of all those which give them money, which give them wealth. Still, in this situation, when people should think of health, they are thinking of business, they are thinking of everything. Well, I don't mind that. It's people of world, they have to decide about themselves. But I don't mind even COVID-19 because whatever is happening, it's happening because of nature, it's happening because of desire and desire what God wants to do. God never comes here and tells straight away to everyone, do this. That's not nature of God. God does create such situation. That situation teaches us. Just like this COVID-19 has taught us. It taught us many things which we never ever could even imagine. We never ever could imagine in this world, but it taught us. It taught us that you have to understand how it happens, though that's also imaginary. You have to keep distant. And previously you said to come closer to each other. Now keep distance. So that is hygienic, I can say. You can say it's part of good health. If you do not come in contact with others, but have relations with others, have good cordial relations, cordial conduct, but because human body is also having many impurities, if you keep off and if you use mask or goggles or you can say whatever PPEs are required, you are not going to shake hand. Just think of while you shake hand. You used to shake hand. You might have worked somewhere, your hands are dirty, you did not wash them properly, and your palms could have many invisible impurities at time of shake hand that could transmit that impurity to your body. Forget COVID-19, otherwise also that was not hygienic. You touch your hand, you touch your face using your hand, you touch some material, you touch something else. So there was chances of infections, however. And if you had to wash your hands every time when you shook hand with 50 people a day, how many times would you wash your hands? And you can't wear gloves all times except cold. So that's also another material consideration. So we can say indirectly crowd, you can say formation or crowd scenarios have been curtailed. Get together with close contacts has been curtailed. There have been so many changes that we have to keep distance. I have seen boys and girls used to enjoy sitting together close to each other, whispering and talking and doing bad activities even in public. Everywhere in the world. I have seen this in foreign countries like UK or others, of course not in Gulf. And in our country also, if you used to go to metro stations, you'll find people doing that bad acts. Now it's very rare because of COVID. So COVID impacted everybody, and that's good, I think. It's not bad. But we should keep on thinking and concentration how to avoid COVID impact. But COVID doesn't know anything except that if you are not protective, I would use you. COVID is there to use you. And that is very important fact. To use you because you are careless. Yes, you want to be in contact with each other. That's your private life. You go home and do whatever you want. but in public it's not acceptable. Students used to study in schools which has been impacted, which has been fractioned. Online study goes on, and it is also reported that about 40 to 50% students are not learning what they should have learned in their close physical school. Teacher to teacher contact, teacher to student contact, student to other student contact, these communications, this coordination which used to be done has been destroyed by COVID. Maybe there is nothing behind, I know. In future, maybe we know that it was all horrible, but it was very simple to decide, to solve. Today, it's very difficult. Alternative, you can say protective measures are being taken. First is physical, use of masks, use of other PPEs like gloves, like you can say different types of masks, your spectacles and whatever. But this is not end. After all, people don't like every precautionary measure. That's another problem. We want to live free, and some people are relating it to democratic problem, that you are harming our democracy, our democratic right by imposing restrictions on us. And it's also true that politicians are not scientists. They cannot understand realities, and they try to legislate for those, and there is always a friction. There always remains a friction. Without considering logic, without considering scientific advice, political leaders resort to certain orders, certain rules which they don't understand themselves. Alright, this is trial and error, I don't mind that for time being if you can impose rules. But those rules are not accepted by everybody. That's also true. COVID-19 hasn't gone. It's not going tomorrow, because it's long lead. It's, you can say, operational world, COVID-19 operational world. And you can say it's a project. You can say it's a training project for humanity. I can name it that way. Training project humanity for different style of life in future. We have to keep current requirements into history, and we have to generate new ways how to move further. And that's why I'm inclined to talk about safety, health, environment, quality, and works. Ultimately, engineering is nothing but work. It may be engineering society, it may be engineering in your home, it may be engineering in field of engineering, profession of engineering. Everywhere you can say work is done. If we don't value that, that is different. But work is done in kitchen, work is done in other parts of home. Some work is done which may not be measured, which may not be considered, but that work consumes time, that work consumes material, your service and every other, you can say, means. Just like we think, thinking is also work. People may not believe that, but thinking is very fast work. This is only work that's the fastest one. It is fastest than electrical supply, it is fastest than sound, and it is faster than, you can say, whole life. Thinking is an award, thinking is a blessing by that power to everyone. Thinking means to raise your knowledge. Thinking means you are studying something. Thinking nature is very important, and thinking this world is very important. Thinking your problem is very important. I am saying very important because this is a fact. If I cannot think, I cannot concentrate. And if I cannot concentrate, I cannot find any destiny. We say concentration, some can call it meditation, some can call by whatever name, but I am simply saying sequence of thinking. Sequence of thinking in one direction, seeking or thinking in other directions, many directions simultaneously at one time. It's a gift because your thinking is not free, somebody is helping you. You should understand that. Somebody helps you while you are thinking. And who is there? You know it. Maybe you view that in your dream, but you don't realize because you may remember dream or you may not remember dream. You may say, why I am putting in dream in your talk of engineering? But dream is natural engineering. It's natural process. It's not my imagination or your imagination. It is something that's announcing differently. We may put in our mind, we may use, we may think, we may analyze, or we may not analyze. But thinking and concentration are part of our life. If you have problems, if we don't think, problem will never solve, or somebody else would come and solve it. But it's better if you solve yourself, because you have that wealth and that is thinking. Engineering is based on thinking. It's not based on something else. And thinking means common thinking, common sense. Common sense grows, then you can say, you can think professionally after having become professional. You can think otherwise also when you are neither educated person nor you are any professional person. You can think like politicians who do not know what is thinking. It's about all politicians in the world, not in my country, Bharat, India alone. I am referring to all politicians. Because politicians are not actually supporters of society. They consider now as job. And when politics is considered as job, it doesn't remain politics, but it becomes political shop. Political shop, political industry, and purpose then is just to keep it up, just to safeguard my post, protect my post from being hammered. And when this becomes thinking, then this is not human pro, this is not nation's pro, but because of someone's survival, it happens all over the world. They cannot think because they have worry only how to keep my post safe. And to keep it safe for whole life or as much as possible, those politicians can speak anything. Those politicians can reject any proposal from proficient professionals. They can't do that. So we can't expect something from professionals. We have to expect only from educated and qualified engineering experienced people who can solve problems. And problem solving is their job. Problem solving is very important in engineering. Otherwise, you cannot say that there is engineering and quality system is that. Every time I cannot read same, I am just trying to explain to you what is thinking and what is quality. Very important part in engineering is non-conformance and conformance. Both are important. If you have a project that must have certain definitions, that must have certain, you can say, terminologies with that. It is written on every contract that you have to conform to requirements. Conform to requirements is very important term. Though it is written in general form, but it's not a formality to include this term, and it's also no formality that you do this accordingly. Conformance means whatever form we have established in this contract, whatever description we have given in drawings, we have defined a limit, we have defined a scope of this contract. Scopes can never be generalized. Conditions can be generalized, provisions can be generalized, but scope of contract is always different. And that scope doesn't mean contractual scope. That scope gives descriptions. That scope gives what item we have to carry out. what designs we have to do in this item, what should this item perform, and how long, and for what benefit, and then how should be linked to following other items, which you can say a kind of process. We have defined something to be achieved on some product, then that product should be competent after being delivered. And if it does so, even at requirement level, forget value addition. In that case, we say, okay, this complies with, this conforms with requirement. Therefore, it is acceptable, but at your cost, at your responsibility, because you produce this as contractor. So you can say conformance happens. Your product conforms to requirement, and you can say this product is at par quality, at par. It's not value added. And otherwise, if it doesn't conform to that requirement, it goes below, it doesn't go above, it goes below requirement, and that state of material is called non-conformance. It's so simple, means something is non-conformant here, but it may be, you can say, conformant somewhere else. It's as possible. But when we are saying non-conformance, we say relatively to our limits, to relatively what we defined, what it should do. And that non-conformance is not acceptable in our contract, in our project. You change it, you bring it to conformance level, and that's what we accept, we shall accept. That is only difference, it's not big difference. Maybe sometimes it is 50% non-conformant, or sometimes it doesn't work at all, or sometimes it works to partly, let us say 10% it doesn't perform one, or 90% it performs. It depends. Sometimes it's complete scrap, and sometimes it's part useful, part not useful. But we cannot go in between in engineering. You cannot say train moves, okay, no problem if some wheels not work. Can you say that? If you run a train, engine is expert, engine works, and there's a one bogie in that train that doesn't work, but so can we use this? You have to take out, you have to isolate that body, and you have to isolate that carriage boxes where wheels do not work. Otherwise, your train cannot function. Just an example. In your car, you have 4 wheels. If 2 wheels don't work, can you drive car? Can you use car? You will say, no, I have to repair those tires. Yes, that's what I say. Non-conformance is very challenging job, because I am saying non-conformance challenging because if we keep track on everything, engineers understand their duties, there is no question of non-conformance. But it happens because of our attitude, public attitude, professionals' attitude. Everybody wants to do something good, something reasonable, something qualitative. Nobody is happy to deliver something bad. But there are situations when you can say, due to whatever reason, we submit. We do not resist, or we resist to very small level. Conformance and non-conformance are not happy with each other. If you can conform, I think it's very easy. All complications go away. If you perform to requirements, means if you do not sleep on job, you remain active, you remain vigilant, you remain like surveillance person. In that case, there is no meaning that you will deliver non-conformance, but I would say you will deliver performance, you will deliver conformance, and of course some element of value addition that can come into that. So do not worry about seriousness, worry about requirement. Seriousness doesn't work when you do not do. When you do something in sequence and you cover all sequences, it's called sequential work. It's called work in a train, work train you can say, not transport train. And in that train, everything is fine. Successively and gradually you have moved from guard room to engine, or engine room to guard room. Rightly. And you can say you have checked yourself that it's okay. You have to satisfy yourself first, because you are owner of that production, you are owner of that process. And you say, yes, I checked everything and it's fine. And if there's some mistakes, some mistakes, then you have to set that right. You cannot pass blame to someone else. If you can do it yourself, you do it, and that's what is engineering. Quality application and continuous improvement of quality. If you cannot do that, whatever way you fail, then you can say you are not worked according to requirements. And we can say there is no way that exists not to comply with defined or specified quality levels, because definitions of quality is a must. And that definition requires to be achieved per responsibility of engineer and per responsibility of contractor. And if you fail, then you lead to a status of being unsuccessful and work to be reperformed. And that is issue here, an issue, and that is every issue. That you have spent time, you have spent materials, but you have to do again. So your all energies, all sources are lost, because you have to do that job again. And if it happens on all activities, then I can say you should not work on contracting, because contracting is very specific responsibility job. You have no right even for yourself to spoil your money. Sometimes we say that engineers are problem solvers. That is a fact. That's true. But they are problem solvers in technical world. They are not problem solvers in general life. There's a difference. But if development is good, if you can say construction is good, if everything is fine and everything is according to requirement, you can say then it affects everybody. It's not simply technical then, it's not simply engineering then, it is then professional, social life. Means every item, every product is used by society. It's not for show but for utilization. So we can say development brings happiness in life. Development brings, it doesn't matter if it's not expressed. But buyers, if you spend money and it's delivered quality, buyers shall be happy, owner shall be happy that material has been sold, and engineers will be happy that engineers use mind for this and I tried to solve it and I got successful in solving that. That's why we say engineers are big runners of society, big achievers if they convert to cities and towns or useful areas using engineering, using quality, using safety. And we generally just write here, engineer can convert a forest or a desert to a city or an industrial town, for which quality and safety play integrated and merged vital roles in all respect. I was talking about inspection and testing, but our main issue should be quality and safety are maintained. There were some points, personal protective equipment I talked of at length. And again, I wish I could talk at that point. It's no big deal because it's very important from every viewpoint. We cannot run away from that. There is no meaning that we can run away. It is a requirement. And we have many activities in construction. You know, when you start some building construction, you have various methods, various procedures you have to go through. You have to go through, you can say, you have to go through designs. First you have to go through plot. You have a plot, you go through that, what sort of plot it is. You have to survey that one. I'm just talking a small plot. I'm not talking of big plot. A small plot, that is very important for everybody. That plot I'm talking. A small building, let us say, a building is small, doesn't mean everything is okay. A small building is also problematic. I'm just going to change. Light is a problem. Electric supply is disconnected. So hold on, please. I'm coming back. Sorry, problem is problem. Disturbance only because of lights. Well, sorry. So I was talking of building, very small building, and that building, everybody is linked to. Though I have not specifically written for that here, I have just given safety examples for common world, but let us say in this you can say there are excavations. Let's go through what I can say if I recommend something. Now, excavation, though this is general list, this is not that one, but let us say health and safety, that is anyhow We have to consider all. Let me go through some information here regarding excavation. That's will better, I think. Going through excavation just for urgent requirement. Well, I think Wikipedia is not giving anything specific here. It's not giving anything specific. Okay, it says that excavation. I linked one site which says that okay, you can give something, maybe it's saying about metal types. Okay, let's do one by one. If it's here, you can see this page. This is types of excavation, and articles are given as such, and this is, you can say here, types of excavation. It says basement excavation, building foundations, dowsing, dredging, excavation plant, ground improvement techniques, groundworks, mass haul movement. Its contents are, say, introduction, which we'll do ourselves, material types, topsoil excavation, earth excavation, rock excavation, muck excavation, unclassified excavation, excavation purpose, cut and fill excavation, trench excavation, basement excavation, road excavation, bridge excavation, dredging, over excavation, excavation support, related articles on designing building, wiki, external sources. These are just title. Now, in construction terms, excavation is process of removing earth to form a cavity in ground. It's so simple. We have to take out materials from surface, so it becomes, you can say, a kind of cavity in ground. On small sites or in confined spaces we have already discussed at length. On small sites or in confined spaces, excavation may be carried out by manual means. That is, on small sites where machines cannot enter, where excavator cannot enter, or in confined spaces where there is regulation even to enter. Excavation hand shovel, it's not shovel machine. And wheelbarrow, you know very well, a small cart of steel with one wheel. Large scale excavation works require heavy plant such as bulldozer and back and track one, you can say excavator, rock breaker, I would say because I know excavator, rock breaker. Excavator and rock breaker are complementary because we can replace bucket using hammer, heavy hammer, mechanical hammer. And of course shovels you can use, and we have more information on that we can discuss. And material type is common method of classifications is by material being excavated. It can be sandy soil, it can be clay soil, it can be rock, or it can be other. Now it says topsoil excavation. This involves removal of exposed layer of earth surface. Removal of exposed layer of earth surface, including whatever vegetation or decaying matter which could make soil compressible and therefore unsuitable for bearing structural loads, means it doesn't have good bearing capacity as we require. And depth also vary from site to site, but usually on an average it is 150 to 300 mm, because grass generally requires 300 mm for its growth. And if it's grass or weeds, we can say in 300 mm. If you remove, we will get rid of that soil. This is very simple. This is not excavation in fact. Earth excavation. This involves removal of layer of soil directly beneath topsoil that we have already removed up to 300 mm. Removed material referred to as spoil, they call excavated material spoil, is often stockpiled, that is stored and used to construct embankments and foundations. Rock excavation, which is removal of material that cannot be excavated without using spatial excavation. Methods such as drilling by hand or with heavy machines, or by blasting with explosives. Muck excavation, removal of excessively wet material and soil that is unsuitable for stockpiling. This means moisture within soil that we excavate, and that is wet material. It is muck excavation. Then unclassified excavation, that is removal of combination of these materials, such as where it is difficult to distinguish between materials or among materials we encounter. And then purpose of excavation, excavation purpose. Excavation can also be classified according to purpose of work. Cut and fill excavation, these are all very, very common. Cut and fill excavation, process of excavation whereby material that is cut out or cut or stripped, removed, topsoil and earth can be used as fill for embankments. Removed, topsoil and earth can be used as fill for embankments, elevated sections and so on. Means somewhere you cut and somewhere it's deep you fill. That's called cut and fill, so that you have not to dispose of excavated soil to somewhere else, anywhere else. It can also be used to form a level surface on which to build, as elevated sections of site are cut and moved to fill lower sections of site. Now trench excavation, that is actually more important. Trench excavation, a trench is an excavation in which length greatly exceeds depth. Shallow trenches are usually considered to be less than 6 meters deep, and deep trenches greater than 6 meters. So this is a limit they have put in of 6 meters, up to 6 meters. So that's not, just a guide it is, that up to 6 meters. You can, if length and width are considerable, in that case it's shallow, and more than that, well, it's not very important. It's only term, it doesn't affect our work. Trench or footing excavation is typically used to form strip foundations, buried services and so on. Choice of technique and plant for excavating, supporting and backfilling trench depends on factors such as purpose of trench, ground conditions, trench location, number of obstructions and so on.